These are the levels that you don't want to trade into. You want to either be trading to it or away from it, but never right at it. Let's take a look at the chart and you see what I mean here. Looking at ES on the 1 minute, it's going to be this yellow VWAP, which is the start of week VWAP, which is anchored from 6 p.m. on Sunday at the changeover for a new week. First off, let's go over the Friday's price action just at the open because there is a nice trade within this markup that we have. Our 15-minute opening range. Now we get the first break of opening range low. If you've seen my course on ASFX TV, Futures 2.0, we know we don't want to be chasing that. Often doesn't sustain, and sometimes it's just straight up inducement, and buyers just rally the whole rest of the way. So we want to make sure that sellers can hold that strength a second time after buyers fail to make a new high a day. So now we have lower highs on top. That the shorts will be the second time back below New York, or you could even wait for the open range low break and catch that nice run. Then, same price in between these 2 points. But you don't want to be selling it the first time. You're better off waiting for that second break. And then after that, you're trading to that start of week VWAP. And then once you get there, that's really where it becomes tricky. And do we want to go long? Probably not, because the 15 minutes looking nice and bearish. So if we put on our low of day VWAP, right? Same thing I'm mentioning in this ASFX TV course. Futures 2.0, you'll see all the VWAP plays that I take and how I teach it. A through Z, setup, entry, risk, all that good stuff. If you want to join that, you could always use code Evan to join that team. But it's really just a break of lower day VWAP here on this example, saying sellers are back in, right? Because clearly they've been in with these lower highs and lower lows. I want to let it pull back and get in short when the sellers step back in to go continue that next leg of trend. So that would be the viable option here. As it comes close to New York VWAP, break of lower day, stop loss that structure, chops around a little bit, and then finally stops you out. But what are you trading into, and what do you just reject prior to this trade? Well, buyers bounces right off that start of week VWAP. So you either got to trade to it, which is probably going to be the easier way in this direction, in the direction of trend, or away from it, right? Especially when it does reject it. But once we're at it, all within here, I don't want to predict what's going to happen. So I either need to see it bounce. Maybe you're buying it on a retest here to catch the next bounce off of it, or see it break through to tell you that sellers have the strength to move us lower, and then just look for the next short after that. But right when you're at it, that's when you get in lots of trouble trying to predict what's going to happen and finding yourself on the wrong side many, many times of it. Now, this one's also a tough example because this is on ES. Notice how it comes up and breaks that previous lower high. If we go to NQ on this same day on the Friday, notice how that same lower day VWAP break doesn't quite make that lower high, right? Still barely holds on to that stop loss, retests in New York, and I guess technically would win and come back down. But that also has a different start of week VWAP below us. But yeah, sometimes the ES and the NQ price action are just a little bit different. Then we'll be mindful of that. It's kind of just bad luck on that example. But let's go back to the day prior. Notice how you do make money, though, if you bounce it off of the New York VWAP with plenty of risk-reward room down to that VWAP of that start of week. And again, can't bounce below it. So don't predict that we're going to break it. Either trade to it or see it hold and try to buy it away from it. But again, those are probably going to be the tougher ones because you're trading in the pullback market, not in the trending market, which is to the downside today. Below New York VWAP, we want to be looking for shorts, and then once we get above it, we want to be looking for longs. One example on this one, actually, another thing to not just a quick tip for anyone that doesn't understand the VWAP strategy. Let's go on the initial balance. If you go over here, you see that red line that's created. We probably only break one side, so being that we broke the bottom, yes, we held support down here, but that doesn't mean we just reverse and rally up all day. You can go to Edgefield here and switch to the report initial balance breakout, and then by that you could see just standard, 24 out of the last 125 days have double broken. So 19%. You can even go by weekday. And you'll see on a Friday, 12% of the time in the past 6 months. Only 3 days out of our last 25 Fridays have we broken both sides. So being that we took out this bottom, I really don't expect us to rally and reverse and hold that as support and rip face all the way up to the new highs. Because it probably doesn't want to double break. So that would just be your note to not chase that higher. Once buyers potentially step in for a few minutes, do not be chasing that because of that stat. But also, what's the direction of trend today? It's still more so bearish. Sellers have been in control. So don't want to be chasing that long. You actually want to be looking for this to be your area to potentially sell it back down in the direction of trend. And then that way, if it doesn't break this start of week VWAP, it doesn't matter. You already made your money. You're out of the move to the VWAP. And then once it gets there, don't worry about it. So that's on that one specific day. Pretty clean trend, and then it just sat sideways around these VWAPs, pinched between the New York in black and that start of week VWAP in yellow. So definitely a tough one there. But let's even go to the day prior, and we'll keep that start of week VWAP on. That if you look at the open here, when it just rallied up, looking for shorts off the New York VWAP as it's still making these lower highs and lower lows, right? Same thing. Shorts to that start of week VWAP, but don't be looking for a bounce play short down to that start of week VWAP. Again, when it just showed you support down there, that buyers stepped in there and that we're not ready to move lower. Either wait for it to break below and find the next short, or you want to be trading away from it, right? I'd say the away from it is probably the tougher part because you're below New York VWAP. Then what's the harm in just letting it make a new high of day, telling you buyers are fully back in, and then you just buy the retest off of that key level of opening range high, and you find longs into the afternoon, right? Because I've also made plenty of videos about it. If you just mark off this entire zone, that 15-minute opening range, if we're within this, I'll turn it red so it looks bad. I do not want to be playing these trades, right? So I don't really want to be buying it in here. Counter trend potentially. We've only spent a couple minutes above this New York VWAP and we're in this range. This could still want to form a lower high and come back down. But yes, we did just bounce off that key VWAP. So what do we do here? Well, you wait. You wait for new information, aka a new high of day, telling you buyers were able to bring us higher for a new high. And they just read and react off of that. You could even take it to the day prior. I'll give you guys a bunch of examples in this video. Let's rewind it to the day prior. On Wednesday, we had longs. I don't know why that yellow VWAP is anchored to that one. Let's rewind that to the start of week, shall we? And then you'll see on Sunday at the changeover. Well, that's actually electronic trading hours, but that's fine. Let's turn it on there. But yeah, right at the open, we had some nice longs. But what was it? To the VWAP, not at the VWAP. We had some nice long bounce plays off the New York, making higher highs and higher lows. Right, this is the same VWAP. I'll just turn it yellow. And you can see it rejects right off it. Can't break through it. So this is why you don't want to just chase these higher highs and higher lows for more longs to come in, because they just quickly disappear once it gets to that key VWAP. Because sellers stepped in and we rejected it. So rather than predict we're going to break above, see it break above and then long it somewhere up here. Or see it reject and sell it somewhere down here. Now again, this is probably going to be the tougher one because again, you're back within that range. But that is the first sign that says sellers are back in. So if you were bearish and you did like this rejection of it, this would be your time to want to sell that. But just notice how you don't really want to be trading at these VWAPs. And it could be even tough to trade to it, right? Even on this one, late afternoon, buyers try to step in, smacks off it again. This is all on the 1 minute, and this was a pretty choppy week. You could even take it to the 15-minute on the electronic trading hours, right? So we can see all the pre-markets and all that. If you tag it to the start of week last week, let's unrewind it here. You guys will see how we had a bearish Monday, but that bullish pop at the open smacked it there on the Tuesday, and then on Wednesday we come back in, it's choppy all overnight, but then on the Wednesday New York Open we couldn't get above it either. If it's giving you long opportunities, it can't get above the start of week VWAP. So I don't want to be long it into that. Probably want to be trading short away from that level and not predict that when we're going to break above it. You come in the next day, we did break above it. We actually hold it as support and we break back higher. And then you come back in on the next day, Friday, same thing. Those shorts that we were talking about, couldn't get below it. So pretty sideways, but just notice how well this start of week VWAP is respected on the day to day. You can see all the touches to it here, the retest to it there, the retest of the New York session there, and over here, all during the New York session while we're at the desk, while we're trading. I don't really care about this pre-market noise in Asia and London session. Even during the New York session, it's being held and respected. So definitely put this on your charts. Start a week, right? I'll show it back here again on the 15-minute. Sunday changeover at 18 o'clock, right? 6 p.m. Eastern on the New York session. So you can see, same thing, it's being held. So hope you guys found value in that. Don't trade at these levels the best you can. Trade to them as a target and then go hands off and see what happens, or try to trade away from them. Those are probably sometimes going to be tougher depending on what your other VWAPs are telling you. So always try to ride on the direction of trend. Feel free to reach out if you have any other questions. Check out all the daily uploads on this channel. Plenty of VWAP content, but I appreciate you guys always tuning in. Make sure you grab some top 1 accounts with code Evan, and I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.